last game, and then we're going to kill a bull.
Leaving the last game aside for a moment, it should be mentioned that 5 of the bees were selected to play for a team called the Latin Lovers. The players involved Blocker Dan, Rob Gibson, Eddie Murphy, Malcolm Wilson and Donnie McDavitt led the way despite the language barrier. A nose injury to Donnie gave him a major cosmetic change, which he was to carry with him for the rest of the tour.
Red is the rose, like the blood on Dockie's nose. There is the lily of the valley, clear is the water that down the Shannon flows. But my love is fairer than over the hill, my bonny Irish girl. Come over the hill to your lover. You choose the lowland, and I will make the vow. And I'll be your true love forever. Red is the rose that in yonder garden grows. Fair is the lily of the valley, clear is the water that down the Shannon flows. But my love is fairer
The last game in the green jerseys looked like another defeat, with a costly mistake in the opening minutes put Julio's team in the lead.
Julio, como loco, ¿cómo corre Julio? Ya está hacia la línea de London Irish y va a meterse un ensayo. Muy bien hecho. Julio es un antiguo jugador mío. Otro ataque español empezado ahora por Juan de Canoy. Mire cómo corre. Ya hay mucho espacio. Muy mal placado por Jim O'Hara. Sigue el ataque español. Ya está placado. Ya vemos el Peter Morgan.
But good work by the forwards quickly got the Irish to grips with the game, and it wasn't long before the sides were level again.
Thompson. Bien pasado por Thompson. Ahora Dougie. Ahora pasa el balón hacia McDavitt. McDavitt se cayó. ¿Qué? Pasado por Bootsy ya. Thompson. Douglas, empieza Douglas. Ya va a correr Douglas. Mira cómo corre Douglas. Sigue Douglas. El balón sigue con Ryan, el grandote, Big Juan ya se ha caído, Big Juan ya vamos a ver. Ahora, y el capitán Ryan se va a meter un ensayo ya se ha metido. Qué bien hecho. Ahora vemos el Big Juan que se queda muy contento.
This try puts them into the lead in a match they were to win by 20 points to 7.
Jim McKeown's early exit gave rise to hopes that he may have at last been quietened. Hopes were dashed, however, at the bullfight that followed in the Valley of the Fallen, where the first man seen in the ring was none other than himself. Bullfighting over, few were allowed to forget the presence of the Dublin with cries of, "Hey dickhead!" and "Hey fatso, come here to me," not forgetting the carefully placed fireworks. At the dinner that followed, he continued to make his presence felt when the session had been officially declared. Once law and order had been restored, tour guest and chief rope puller at the bullring, Morris had some advice for the senoritas of Madrid.
That's precious thing, and time brings all things to my mind. Time with all its pleasure, along with all its joy. Time brings all things to an end. Yes, time brings all things to an end.
And so another season has passed, and questions frequently asked amongst the bees are, who is going to retire, who's going to come out of retirement apart from Tommy Joy, and who's going to stab Jerry Ryan in the back when he's on holidays, and who's going to tell him? Mal Hines refused to comment when I asked him if he was standing for captaincy, but rumour suggests he has already secured a few votes. Is this full retirement now? You're not playing anymore?
No, I'm temporarily injured. I'm seeing Dr. Ken Kennedy next week for a complete medical check-up. If he says you're going to die next week, I'll give up rugby. If he says you're not going to die next week, I'll play again next season.
What are you going to do if he says give up rugby or the drink?
I'll have to take up a pipe or something like that, yeah.
The Illan pipe?
No, I'll leave that to Jim O'Hara.
Fair enough.
Bootsy to retire and concentrate on a bigger family?
Big decision to be made about the boots, like as to whether to buy a new pair or not, Dan, but we'll just play it by ear and see how, you know, the old phrase, play one game at a time. And
So you've had the medical, have you?
I was going to talk to you about that, but we haven't had the medical yet. You have to get one every year, you have, yeah?
So we can look forward to seeing you again next year. If selected.
Good touch and go at the moment.
If selected.
We'll see.
If selected, you'll be available.
Correct. Thank you very much.
Well, if someone can buy me a pair of boots next year and a new jersey and a new socks and pay me sub, and I might consider it.
Well, I'm 50 this year, and I think it's time. Since Tommy Joy did my leg in 1965 or whatever it was, no, I think I've been very lucky. I've never had any bad...
A seemingly happy Jerry Ryan, pictured with George Lowe. But can his thoughts be far away from a coup d'etat, bearing in mind how Tommy Joy's 3-year reign as captain came to an end?
The knife out and stuck it in me back.
Well, I was going to ask you about that, Tommy. I mean, how exactly did that happen? I mean, what happened?
I don't know. It was when I was away on holidays, Mr. O'Hara. You'd know better, because you're organising it.
Tommy, that's very unfair. Very unfair. You know I wouldn't do anything to get.
Do you know what they say?
Tommy is pictured here beside his predecessor, Brendan Healy, who unfortunately was not available to recount his demise. And as for Brendan's predecessor, we'll leave him with the last word as he predicts the future of the famous London Irish Bees.
I suppose it must end with the future, Des. I mean, now we've got the Americans bombing Libya, and we've got nuclear activity and clouds coming over from Russia. I mean, do you think there's a future for the bees?
Yeah, I don't think radiation will affect them too much at all.
Lonely prison wall, I heard a young girl calling. Michael, they have taken you away, for you stole Trevelyan scorn, that the young might meet the morn. So a prison ship lies waiting in the bay.
I would have my...
Sorry, son.
I heard a young man
On the following.
against the famine and the crowd. I rebel, they cast me down. Oh, you must raise our child with dignity.
Dolly the patties, here we go, boys. Lift it, lift it.
I watched the Lone Star falling while the prison ship sailed out against the sky. She can only hope and pray for her love in Bosnia Bay. 11 quid. It's so lonely round the patties. Here we go! Come on, boys! Sing along!
Well, you probably realize that there have been a few very important people missing from our saga. Danny McCarthy, Willie Jones. But the most important one that's been missing has been our captain, sandwiched in between those two indigestible lumps, Des Egan and Tommy Joy. And whether that sandwich is caviar or whether it was something else, I'll have to ask the man himself, Brendan Healy. And can you tell us the unusual circumstances under which you took over the captaincy of the Bees?
Well, I don't think the full story can be told because I don't remember it. But one night, they started in a bar. It was said to me, well, would you take an interest in the cyclone? Right. And well, I have to say, I have my views that we were getting a little bit off the boil inside. It had been said in the Isha, supposed I got to play the expenses, so did a few others, but we didn't. And the correct comment was made by one of the members. Well, maybe it's a good thing because we'd probably lose.
I see.
Well, we're going through a little bit of a rickety time. And so when I was invited to take an interest, apart from the honour, I also thought, well, how on earth do you ever control and interest such an amazing selection of people?
And we actually had, if I remember correctly, that year's team dinner in Bologna, which was actually one of our first foreign trips. Very important.
Yes, well, happily, the boys went for it. What happened was, there were many matters discussed here and there, but you all remember Danny O'Connell was Des's very able vice captain, did a tremendous job all the time, and all those statistics, if you remember, we used to get the handout.
Indeed, yes.
Who scored, how many points, how many scored, and various other details. So I was vice captain that year, and we started the idea of touring, which I must say, as you know, to get players you must drive a motor car. And Tommy was a frequent passenger, and in case you didn't know, Tom is a great touring man.
Oh, indeed.
And that set off the idea that, well, okay, I didn't fancy doing 2 or 3 weeks away. It was anyway too early. We had major team structure problems to sort out. But instead of doing the team dinner, which was normal, let's do a team dinner which was different. And the boys did it.
And that's where we went to Bologna, and I'm not sure Bologna has recovered, but it was a great dinner. Those that remember it.
Yes, it was a sort of non-speaking dinner in a way.
Non-speaking dinner, as I remember correctly. Some of the speakers left there, yes, yes, yes.
And, some went under the table.
Some went over the table, in fact, I remember. And
over the top, under the top.
And as I remember, Des was dressed as an Arab sheik. And all in all, I think we had one of the great Bees dinners, and came back happier and wiser men. Well, would you say, Brendan, in retrospect, that your time with the Bees was, though it came about in a peculiar way? I mean, Jim O'Hara, I remember, described it as a palace coup. In fact, you had taken over when Des was elsewhere, and in fact had taken his team away from him. And Des has often said this. Do you think this is true, or is this an ugly route?
I think it's a wonderful expression from O'Hara, because
he's a historian. He can't help it,
Being a historian, he knows exactly how it all happened. think everybody should ask Jim how who asked who, whether he would take an interest in the side.
Do you think that Jim has tales to tell that he doesn't actually tell very often?
Jim is another of the very hard workers on the side.
What about Ronnie? Ronnie was a great bee, wasn't he?
Tremendous man, always there in support. And if you think about the Golden Oldies Festival in Sunbury, it was he that was given the job to organise it after we'd persuaded our committees that this was a subject that should be made a subject for the club.
That's right.
They thought they had it taped, but you have to point out to them that the original publications showed that the venues were vastly vandals and Twickenham.
That's right.
Club, which in Navy gunnery terms means we've been bucketed and also meant we've been missed.
And I think actually the club, at least in the embodiment of the club, David Jackson that I mentioned specifically, that both yourself and Ronnie Johnson had to be greatly congratulated on probably one of the most successful occasions that London Irish had ever run. And I think that's fair enough. I think perhaps we ought to bring John in, because John is not only a bee, but he has been, probably he's the one person among all the bees that actually knows anything about rugby in any objective sense, having been a coach for, well, dare I say it, several first teams in the London area. John, would you like to say something about the bees' style of rugby, commitment, and basically panache and all those sorts of things that we obviously have?
Thanks, Oliver. I'm glad you mentioned him, because I don't remember Panache ever appearing to the bees, but you could fill me in on